And I noticed the geraniums coming up the front walk. Are those darn geraniums coming up the front walk again?
My grandfather gave me this watch a few minutes before he died for $20. Chinese food. For the ones of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Victor Borge. For the ones who come in late also, or my name is Victor Borge, and I am 68 years old, but I'm not the least embarrassed about it because I was born 83 years ago. My background is very simple. I was born at home, and when my mother saw me, she was taken to the hospital. They told me a few things about my great-grandfather, for instance. Yeah, they traced him back to Marie Antoinette. As a matter of fact, my great-grandmother traced him back there a couple of times. Yeah. He had, we lived in the same house as they did. Everybody in Denmark lived in houses, because once they get out of the houses, they're in Sweden already. But he had 4 sons. I'm still talking about my great-grandfather. Would you be kind enough to laugh with the rest of the audience? He had 4 sons, one of which they say went a little nutty, because they say because he didn't get the woman he loved, but that's not so, because his brother went just as crazy, and he got her. So, I mean, this is just a story. Yeah. My grandfather was, I don't know if you're interested in it, but would you rather see a movie? My grandfather was he was very nice. He was a very big man. I used to sit in some of his laps, and he was a kind of an inventor, an amateur. He invented, for instance, the burglar alarm, which unfortunately was stolen from him because but they were very musically inclined. They hated music. And I'm told that my grandfather, there were sometimes for weeks he didn't speak to his wife because he didn't want to interrupt her. So, he made a potato pancake kind. It was he crossed an Idaho potato with a rubber sponge, one of these sponges that grow in water, you know. It's terrible. It tasted absolutely terrible. But it held a lot of gravy. Now, this was part of my childhood. We lived on that for a while, and that was... He also invented a soft drink which he called 4-Up. But it wasn't any good. He improved it, he thought, and called it 5-Up. Still no good. So he tried once more. And what do you think he called it? 6-Up, of course. Nobody still liked it. So there was, didn't matter anyway. He died heartbroken right after anyway. Little did he know how close he came, though. I was born, as I told you, at home. And my father was a musician, and my mother played piano. And once in a while, they played together. Obviously, but because they were both, they both liked music, you know. I gave my first concert at 8, or a few minutes after 8, because we never started on time, as it was raining pretty heavily that night anyway. I remember the day, I think it was a Monday. I remember it clearly. No, it was a Tuesday. Well, one of those days. And in the afternoon, it was a cold winter day. Did I say it was raining? It wasn't. It was snowing. No, it was. There was a day after it was raining. And my father came home and found me in the living room at home in front of a roaring fire, which made him very angry. Yeah, we didn't have a fireplace, you see. And, I'll never forget that. He stood there, he pointed at me, he said, Borge, he could never remember my first name. He said, shame on you, he said. When I was your age, I was 12. As a matter of fact, this was not what I wanted to tell you. Yeah, he couldn't remember my name. I was the only son, you know. Later on, I had an older brother, but that was So, throughout the evening, I'll share with you some of the clips from shows I have been doing on television and even the old movies. I hope you will enjoy them. Once I was left alone on a stage with a baby, and believe me, it wasn't easy.
Now, wait a minute. Don't choke before you get the milk. Wait a second. There it is. Whoa, that's all right. Ah, that's good. Thank you. Another one. Ah, go, little baby. Cute little baby, isn't it? Cute little baby elephant. Well, I think that did it. Huh? Well, maybe I'm going to play a bit. How does it go?
A man came over to me. He was in his 90s, about 96 or 97 years old. He used to be my father's barber. His name is Schwartz, and I hadn't seen him for 50, 60 years. But he recognized me. He came over. He said, Victor, was it you or your brother who died? I told him that was one of the things I just couldn't remember. My father told me about it. I remember I went to his shop once. He was a barber. He cut hair and so. And once I said to him, I must have been about 15 or 16. I said, Mr. Schwartz, when you cut my hair, will you make it shorter on one side? And then make a couple of holes on top, right in the middle if you wish, and in the back just make a zigzag. I would like that. He said, Victor, you know I can't do that. So I said, Mr. Schwartz, you did it last time. Well, I don't know. It's always when I'm playing something, you know, my thoughts wander. Who's that? Oh, No. They wander and wander and wander. Once I was playing, it was a concerto, a Chopin concerto. And in the middle of it, I'm playing very nicely, and the orchestra is going bang, bang, bang. And all of a sudden, a fly is walking from here to there, turning back to there again. And I'm sitting there playing and watching this fly go. And the musicians are going like this and all that. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, how does that fly land on the ceiling? Right in the middle of the concerto. Does it go like this and turn and get up like that? Those are things that go through my mind. This is terrible. And how does it get off again? Like that? And there are people are sitting listening, oh, how lovely, he played there, that damn fly is hanging up there. And that's what I meant to say about Mr. Schwartz. My father said that Mrs. Schwartz and Mr. Schwartz were not very good friends. They hated each other, as a matter of fact, because there were always some trouble between them in the barber shop. She worked there also. And so when he asked me that stupid question, I didn't know what to say except, how is Mrs. Schwartz? He said, oh, she's fine. He said, but I wish I had shot her when I wanted to. Because I would have been out by now. That was Mr. Schwartz. He was also, excuse me for getting into all this. This is maybe too late for that, but anyway. Ladies better than ever. So one Sunday afternoon, we were standing, my parents and I, we were standing at the railroad station in front of a ticket office, and we were going out to the country, and in front of us was Mr. Schwartz, which we didn't know until he spoke. Then we recognized his voice. And he didn't know we were behind him. We heard him say, I'd like to have a round-trip ticket. And the man behind the counter said, to where? And the man said, to here, of course. I was happy when Fuzzy the Bear called me from London and asked me to participate in a Muppet show there. And I was very surprised when I found that Beethoven was also on the show. Wow.
Oh, Mr. Borge, could I come in and hear you play?
Yes, come right in.
Oh, terrific!
Be quiet. Yeah.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I'll be real quiet.
Very good, very good.
What are you going to play?
I'm going to play some Beethoven. I'm playing the Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven.
Oh, go ahead, yes.
I don't think you would like it.
Why?
See what it says here? Con molto tedioso.
What does that mean?
That means with great dullness. I don't think you would like that. Not the way you came in here. Yeah, that's a...
Don't go, please, please, for me.
Okay, you have to be quiet.
Okay. Shh.
That's the Spanish composer, El Beethoven. Oh.
You made a mistake.
No, that's the way I wrote it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Borge.
Is it all over?
That was fascinating.
You think that was fascinating? Well, you can come back later and watch me tie my shoes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have made a little arrangement of a very beautiful tune, and we hope you will enjoy it. It's a barcarolle from the Tales of Hoffmann by Offenbach.
not this winter, last winter, Queen of Denmark, the Queen of Denmark, Queen Margaret II, came to the United States on a state visit. I happened to be in Australia at that time. I was invited because I was going to do something at the White House after the dinner, but I couldn't because I was in Australia. Yeah. And the day after the dinner at the White House, the Queen went to Virginia on a helicopter flight. Unfortunately, they had a mishap, and the emergency landed and got another helicopter, and everything went well. I was in Australia, and as you know, when it's Monday in Australia, nobody knows what day it is anywhere else. But when I came back to New York, because there was another dinner for the Queen, she eats a lot, and that was at a hotel in New York, which I was to attend, I told the Queen that I had read about her incident there with the helicopter a day before it happened. And she was very excited about that. She asked me why I hadn't told her. I didn't know you then. No, I didn't have her number. And after that dinner, I played a little medley of some old Danish folk songs for some of the old Danish folks. As a matter of fact, when I flew from New Zealand to Australia, it was one of these 4-engine planes, and we flew in the evening, and the plane was fully loaded with people, and we lost an engine right between the two countries. And the captain said there was nothing to worry about, just take it easy. We have slowed down a little, but we may be about 45 minutes late, but don't worry about it, nothing happened. So nobody worried about it, he thought. Then about 10 minutes later, another engine failed. And again the captain came back and said, don't you worry, we have 2 engines still, and we are doing very well. We have lost a little altitude, but don't worry, we will be in maybe an hour and a half late, but we are doing very well. And everybody got up and started dancing, and that was that. Except the lady behind me, she said, I hope the other 2 engines are all right, otherwise we may stay up here all night. Oh, I meant to tell you earlier, I was driving yesterday afternoon in a car, and I stopped at a traffic light. And another car pulled up next to me. A lady, a very beautiful lady, opened her window. She rolled it down and looked at me and signaled that I should do the same thing. So I lowered my window, and she leaned out. She was very attractive. And she said, sir, would you happen to have some grape poupon? I said, unfortunately, I'm just out of it. But I have 3 other kinds. I always carry a lot of mustard with me in case of war. She was quite disappointed. And I come think of, last time I was in Detroit, and I'm waiting for this opportunity to tell you that I was down here near the river. There was a bench on a piece of grass, and there were 3 men sitting on it, one in the center, of course. And the man at that end did this. And on the other end, the man did this. And the man in the middle didn't do anything. He didn't do anything, and I watched it for a couple of minutes, and I thought they were maybe doing a movie or television show, what have you. So I left, and a half hour later I came back. They were still doing the same thing. And I watched for a couple of minutes, and I finally went over to the man in the middle, and I said, excuse me, I don't want to interrupt, but whatever you're doing, there are no fish here. You're sitting on the lawn. And he said, oh. It's amazing. People are so. Also, I used to play here in Detroit for many, many years. Started in the mid-40s at the Statler Hotel, if any remember. Yes, you remember that? I don't. I thought it was so funny that they had in the shower rooms, they had shower beds. They said, please place curtain inside tub. They did that in those days all the time. I thought it was kind of strange. I had just arrived and I had to put the curtains inside the tub. I thought they could do that themselves. I mean, they had housekeeping service and all that. But I remember I did it once. It took me about 28 minutes to get the curtains off those little hooks. And they never told you which curtains they wanted in there, so I took every curtain off and put it. They don't do things like that anymore. I don't think that's very impractical. And I came to Detroit Thursday, and as I waited for my baggage at the airport, an elderly couple came by, and the gentleman said, I wish I had brought my piano. And I thought he had seen me and was trying to make a joke, but he hadn't, and he certainly wasn't. The lady who accompanied him said, why should you have brought your piano to the airport? And the man said, because the tickets are on it. And now I'm going to play, I'm going to play the Danish folk song. I hope you will enjoy that. One of my favorite clips was in a sketch when I played the famous composer Franz Liszt with Mike Wallace as my straight man.
Good evening. Tonight, we take pride in demonstrating for the first time the phenomenal discovery of the time window. The time window was developed by an obscure network vice president who was dozing one night before his television set and inadvertently short-circuited his remote control switch by dropping it into a plate of 100-year-old turtle soup. And to his amazement, this gentleman found himself watching a Civil War movie with the original cast, an event that occurred exactly 100 years ago. Well, tonight, through the miracle of the time window, we present the first in our new gallery of television portraits of colorful geniuses and historic figures of a century ago. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as you gaze into the time window, we take you to the home of the eminent Hungarian composer Franz Liszt. And in so doing, we set television back 100 years. Are you there, Mr. Liszt? Mr. Liszt, are you there?
I certainly am, Mr. Wallace. And how are you, Mr. Wallace?
I'm fine, thank you. And how do you feel, Mr. Liszt?
Oh, I feel wonderful because Anderson doesn't upset my stomach.
We've been admiring your splendid home, all the stately chambers, mammoth furnishings, and I was most impressed with your beautiful formal garden. I noticed the geraniums coming up the front walk.
Are those darn geraniums coming up the front walk again?
Mr. Liszt, would you please tell us just a little bit about your exquisite home? For instance, the interesting pictures on the wall over there.
Oh, yes, I'm glad you asked that, Mr. Wallace. This is what I call my composer's corner. These are the composers of my most favorite compositions, I may say. There I am, 6 years old. There I am, some years later. Here I am, 10 years from now.
Mr. Liszt, is that a piece of music you have framed there on the wall?
No, that is the piece of music I have framed there on the wall. This happens to be my first composition. It is not a very impressive composition, but it is a very important composition. May I play it for you, Mr. Wallace?
Please.
I told you it was not very impressive, but it is important. Here it is. Yeah. Well, I told you, but it is very important because if we hadn't written this, we would never have had this.
I understand. Mr. Liszt, while you have conquered the world with your pianism, to say nothing of your composing, to whom do you feel that you owe all your success?
My mother. She was a very, very lovely woman. Even her name was lovely. Christmas was her name. Christmas Liszt.
With your permission, sir, I wonder if I may change the subject. Everyone is interested in the amours of a great artist. It's common knowledge that you have known many women in your lifetime. Now, without going into details, of course, would you care to comment on your relationship with the fair sex?
Mr. Wallace, which one is that? The women you mean?
Yeah.
I had intended to play something. My time is up. Oh, upside down, sorry. My grandfather gave me this watch a few minutes before he died for $20. It's one of these strange watches. It's one of these self-winding watches. You remember? Some of you remember. They were But 20 years ago, everybody had self-winding watches. This is one of them. You have to shake it once every half hour. Night and day. And if in the middle of the night you want to know what year it is, just look at the watch. Yeah, well, doesn't seem to impress you, but it works. It's there. One problem with this watch, particularly, is that one hand is missing. It's funny, but no, we don't know which hand it is because there's only one hand on it, and we don't know whether that's the little one or the big one. That's why today is Monday, the 94th of November, 1612, BC. There's never been this much off. Must have forgotten a couple of shakes. Last Wednesday, my neighbor came in and distributed Christmas gifts. He also has one of these watches. And he has the other hand. I think I will sit down here because then you know where I am. Would you like to see a favorite clip of mine? I celebrated my 80th birthday with a number of concerts in Europe. This one in Stockholm. One of my guests was the eminent violin virtuoso and good friend Anton Contra. Here, the rousing reactions from the audience afterwards called for an encore, which actually had not been planned. With no time to lose, Mr. Contra thought we should stay in the gypsy mood and asked if I was familiar with the Charters by Monty. I was, but had never played it. So, spontaneously, I improvised my way through it. Is that all? Yes. And here is how. there's another one where I was a piano tuner, and here is a clip of my duty in that particular store. At this point, I'm going to introduce two people in the audience who really deserve introduction. And first of all, I'd like to introduce the man who has arranged the sound system here for this so-called broadcast. He's one of the finest engineers in the country. George, would you please stand up? Sound is his specialty. Will you please stand up, George? George? George! He probably doesn't hear so well. The next one I'm going to introduce, I hope can hear better. It is an old friend of mine. We have studied together, we have played together, we have done concerts together. We have for many, many years. And I know he's in the audience because he had a concert. He had a concert here in Detroit in the afternoon and said he would come over here. How did it go?
Very well.
It went well.
Better than I thought it might.
It really went very well. Yeah. I have known this man for how many years?
Oh, close to 30.
Close to 30 years.
A little more, maybe.
Would you please welcome, what's your name?
Leonid Ham.
Oh, Leonid Hambro, of course, that's what it is. Well, as you can see, Lee, we don't have much time really. So therefore, we have decided that you will play 30 seconds and I will play 30 seconds. That way we together can play the minute waltz. Be my guest. Have a seat or two. Slow. Right. Okay. Ready? Ready? Shoot! I'd like to add that Leonid Hambro, as I said earlier, is a great pianist, and now is traveling all over the world, very successfully concertizing with what he called the Hambro Quartet of Pianos. And I wish him all the luck in the world, which he already has. Thank you, Lee.
Okay, play my piano. It's a bad piano.
Tivoli Garden in Copenhagen, in Denmark, is one of the great showplaces in the world. A few years ago, I went back to Copenhagen to visit some of my family. And everybody was surprised that they all look very much alike. I wonder if you think so also. Take a look. 12 years I was concertizing, and during that time I often had an opportunity to play an encore, which I generally did early in the evening. My favorite encores were 6 waltzes, 6 lovely Viennese waltzes by a great pianist by the name of Ignaz Friedman. I had intended and will play at least one of those 6 waltzes, the one I know, of course, and I hope you will enjoy it. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to play the one I intended to play. I'm going to play another one of the 6, but you won't notice the difference. Peter and the Wolf. Shh. Nah, that's Strauss. I know it ends here. I know some of you are expecting me to fall off or slide off the seat here, but I don't do that anymore because I hurt my shoulder doing it. Yeah, those days are over. I don't know that one. I would like to share with you a bit from my early career.
I shall now play another one with which I'm not too familiar. Then I shall play one I don't know at all. That will be followed by excerpts. In this particular case, excerpts from Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, number 2, that is, by Rachmaninoff. Sergeant Rachmaninoff. He also wrote the music for this particular mess. This is a piano concerto for piano and concerto, and it was written in 4 flats because he had to move 3 times. And I play excerpts for 2 reasons. One reason is that I do not know the whole thing. That happens to be the other reason also. My mother made some of the finest excerpts that you have never tasted. All kinds of excerpts, hard-boiled, soft-boiled, ham and excerpts, bacon and excerpts, poached, scrambled, deviled, fried, and eggnog excerpts. Particularly at Xmas time. Every Xmas Eve, my mother would make eggnog excerpts. In fact, my mother made the finest eggnog excerpts east of the Mississippi River and west of the Mississippi River. Because my mother made them in Denmark, so what difference does it make? You see, my mother never came to the United States. My mother didn't even speak English. In fact, my mother didn't even know anybody who spoke English. That's probably the reason why my mother didn't speak English, because had my mother spoken English, with whom should she have spoken English? That's why my mother stayed home in Denmark and made eggnog excerpts. Maybe she spoke English and nobody knew it. This concerto by Rachmaninoff was originally written for a large symphony orchestra of approximately 95 pieces. But due to circumstances beyond my control, we seem to be a substantial number short. But you might not notice the difference because we played very fast. Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto. Easter excerpts, those were the ones I could do.
Here I am now, and there I am then. There I am then. Strange language, isn't it?
Thank you, Victor. But I'm extremely sorry. I have only that one orchestration, so I could not sing another because my accompanist, you know, he's still in Europe. And,
oh, that is just too bad. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go on with the show. Thank you, Lau.
Of course, I would like to sing an encore.
Sure,
yeah, because you know, if you could perhaps, I have no accompanist, but you could perhaps, if you would.
Well, I don't sing, you know. That's it. That's I'm awfully
well, I mean, if you would.
if I would, yeah. But I don't think the audience wants another one, actually. Must be a lot of people here from Toledo. That's all I can say. Okay, Lawrence, if you want me to, let's step to the piano.
Thank you.
After you, sir. Thank you. Lawrence, you know, I haven't accompanied anybody for years.
Well,
now I'm a soloist myself, you know. Well, I shall try. I would like to know, what are you going to sing?
Come Back to Sorrento.
Thank you. Must have been somebody who haven't heard it before. Flowers, you know, when I used to be an accompanist, that I had 3 kinds of accompaniment.
Yeah.
One, I charged $200. That was excellent. That was brilliant. Of course, you could hardly hear the singer in that one. And I had one for about, I would say, $150. That wasn't so hot, you know. You know, what can you do with one hand after all? Then I had one for $100. For that one, I know that one, and I know that one, yeah. Which one do you wish?
Oh, I leave it up to you, what you think.
Okay. Won't cost you much tonight. Okay. May I hear your A, please? I like mine better. Oh, but there's something in the piano that's not supposed to be here. That must be from another show. Would you please take that one? Sorrento? That's right. I'm sorry. I don't intend now.
Guarda il mare come bello, spira tanto sentimento, come soave accento, e me testo fa sognar. Senti come lieve sale dai fiatini udor daranti, un profumo non va eguale per chi palpita d'amor. E tu dici il patro addio, allontani dal mio cuore questa terra dell'amore. Hai la forza di lasciar, ma non mi può dir, non darmi più tormento, torna sorrento, non darmi morire.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to do a routine. The ones of you who have heard it before may enjoy hearing it again. And the ones of you who have not heard it before may enjoy hearing it again next time. I'm speaking of the phonetic punctuation. Well, I invented it many years ago when I first noticed that people who speak together often fail to understand each other clearly. Now, when we read or write, we use punctuation marks in order to underline the meaning of our sentences, but we do not have that support when we speak. So why not integrate punctuation marks into our speech? Then we can underline what we intend to convey to each other verbally. Now, what the hell was all that noise? I always get involved in all these speeches and things like that. And then but of course, and then of course, and that is it was right. I'll teach you how to use the system. It's very simple. A period sounds like this. That was a bad one. That was a much better one. A dash, an exclamation point is a vertical dash with a period underneath. See, the comma. Quotation are two commas. Or if you happen to be left-handed. Question mark is a little difficult. Finally, the colon, the two little dots, you can put them over each other, or you can put them under each other, or you can put them wherever you want to put them. That's it. I have a short story right here in the beginning of the book. It's coming up. Page 9. Oh. Page 6. In the open window there suddenly came light. Beautiful Elinor sat alone dreaming of but one thing. 2 years had passed since she met Sir Henry. She could still remember the unhappy evening when her father had thrown him out. They had been sitting in the park, and Henry had said, "Darling." "Is this the first time you have loved?" She had answered, "Yes." "But it is so wonderful that I hope it shall not be the last." It's getting a little messy here, but otherwise. Would you like to move back one row? Suddenly she heard a well-known sound. It was he. In 2 strides he was near her, embraced, kissed, and caressed her. "Henry!" "What is love?" she asked. He answered, "Well, I couldn't live without." She asked, I'm sorry. She was a little left-handed. "Where have your thoughts been?" And he answered, "With thee, my maiden." Suddenly he had gone. Oop. All she heard was the well-known sound of his departing horse.